What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Fight Like Hell podcast, coming to you on the 4th of July in 2022, in case you're listening to us in 23. And it is a Monday, and we're all off today. One, because Austin doesn't have a real job, and two, because Jamie is a federal employee, and I'm a federal employee as well. But I think America's actually off today. I don't know what I'm talking
America's
about.
off today. I don't know what you're talking about either.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well,
You think you're special just because you're a federal employee,
I did for a second. I was trying to pit Jamie against you at the beginning, but
That doesn't work. Everybody has it off.
why don't you introduce our guest, Austin?
Actually, you can do it because it's more. You know more better than I do.
This is true. Who are you again? I have brain damage, so I might not remember who you actually are. No, I'm just kidding. This is Jamie. She's someone that we met through the March for Miles program that we did back in March, back when I had two working legs. She's actually, why don't you tell our guests, Jamie, who you are,
Sure.
what you do, little summary about you.
Sure. So I am Jamie Mraz. I am a physical therapist. My day job is I work for the U.S. military in a H-2F position in a combat brigade at Joint Base Lewis McChord. You may know me on Instagram as Doc Mraz, also known as the girl with the dog, the doc with the dog. So if you've seen me on there, that's who I am. And yeah, like you said, we met doing the March for Miles. And then you were stationed at JBLM, I believe, right? So we started kind of
Correct.
chatting about that. And yeah, so thanks for having me on. It's an awesome day, 4th of July. So we're all off work and pumped for this.
Cool. Well, welcome aboard. We'll get into some good conversation with you here in a moment. We got to do our promotion first. So let me kick this off by saying our official two sponsors of the podcast, starting with one is Invicta Coffee. Invicta Coffee is a veteran-owned coffee company that has a bunch of different roast blends. But one of the interesting things about them, besides having great tasting coffee, is they give proceeds from their sales to veterans' mental health programs. If you'd like to save a little bit of money and acquire some amazing coffee, go visit them and use the code FIGHTLIKEHELL at checkout, all one word, and you'll get a percentage off towards coffee. He's also doing right now until the end of today a promotion where it's, I think, buy 2 bags, get 1 free.
Yeah, I think
Is that
that's
right, Austin?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And then our next promotion goes out to Patriot Cookies. They're a new sponsor of the podcast, and we talked about them last episode. They have delicious tasting cookies. They have different recipes that come out every single week, and they also have ones that actually have healthy ingredients. They have your standard ones that if you ate a dozen of them, you will get fat, but they also have a couple of healthy ones as well. And if you would like to save 15% with them, go ahead and head over to their website and use the code FIGHTLIKEHELL, and you'll get 15% off your cookies. And that's what I got.
Yeah. And then after that, we're going to dive into the usual, which is weekend adventures.
Okay.
So how'd your weekend go, Rob?
My weekend has been interesting. I've just been around here, but I've also been working out a little bit harder than I have been for the past few months. So improvement is definitely coming along the way. For those of you who follow my pages and might have saw a boxing combo reel, that was not me from recently. If you noticed,
Yeah, it was
very
just
short
yesterday.
hair.
What are you talking about?
No, that was not me. Because a couple of people were like, "Oh my God, you're doing so good." I'm like, it's not recent. I can't move that way, and I think I dislocated my finger punching a punching bag a few nights ago. Anyways, but yeah, we'll get into that later. I was actually at an ortho on Saturday getting my hand evaluated because I think I re-dislocated the finger, and they found a fracture in my pinky. So that's been my weekend. I don't remember what else. Oh, we worked on a bunch of shit for SOS.
Well, you mean I worked on a whole bunch of shit for SY.
I mean, I did stuff too, but like you did the majority.
I mean, that was my weekend. As I worked on stuff for Saver 6 and worked on SEO stuff for his website and watched the terminal list.
This is true. That's good. And how about you, Jamie? What did you do this weekend?
So I started the terminal list as well. I'm only one episode in, but we like it so far. Otherwise, we just stayed local. We're going camping next weekend, so we thought we'd kind of lay low with everyone on the road this weekend with 4th of July.
Okay. Yeah, because you and your husband and your 2 dogs, who are adorable.
Thank you.
I know Ava's name. What's your husband's dog's name?
June. So June's our pit bull.
June's your pit bull, and she gets to go on the adventures too. And then you have Ava, who goes on the adventures, but she's also your working dog. And you guys are out constantly in like the Washington State area out there, either at Rainier.
Yep, it's so beautiful out here.
Yeah, but all right, let's be truthful, Jamie, because I've lived there and I know the dirty secret about Washington. You guys get like a month that is incredible, and I'm telling you this as a world traveler who's
actually this year hasn't been bad at all. This year has been great.
Let me finish my point here, because it's important, because she's going to end up with a bunch of people moving there and depressed very quickly.
Two months of the year at best.
Yeah, at best is my point. Summer, hands down, Washington State is one of my favorite summer places in the entire world. The rest of the year, it is rain. If you are in active duty military and if you are in an MLS that requires you to go outside for field problems. That's all I gotta say.
Lots of rain.
Austin, were you here too?
No, I'm in Southern Oregon.
Okay.
Similar weather.
It's a little sunnier.
We get lots of rain too, though.
Oh, okay.
And hotter temperatures. You guys the other day were like 105 or something like that, or
like 2 weeks ago it got to 106 here.
That's just unnecessary. Ungodly hot.
We got rain. It rained today though, so
yeah. Okay. Well, that kind of covers weekend adventures on things that we all did. Austin, thank you for revamping some of the Save Our Six stuff. We'll get into that stuff a little bit more later. And now we look forward to actually asking you some questions, Jamie.
Awesome.
Tell us your backstory, like how you got into PT, your affiliation with the military. Actually, you know what? Tell us where Jamie was born. And
start with the day you were born, and then go to now.
No, just tell us what you want to tell our listeners.
So I have probably the most stereotypical, like, how did you get into physical therapy story? I feel like every physical therapist I've ever met has the exact same story. So it's super uninteresting if you know any other PT.
No, we've never heard this. So like,
okay.
I don't know this.
Any listeners that know a PT, they will tell you the exact same fucking story. Like, we're all the same. So basically we were all washed up high school and college athletes that got hurt at some point, landed ourselves in physical therapy, and was like, this seems like an okay job. I guess I'll go to school for this. So I had a couple knee surgeries playing high school soccer, and seemed like an okay job. You kind of get to work in a gym, stay active. And so that's what I decided to do. My first couple years out of grad school, I worked on the civilian side, and honestly, I fucking hated it. Civilian healthcare was just so crazy at the time. We were seeing like 25 patients a day, which is, in an 8-hour day, you've got like 3-4 people at the same time, and you go home just exhausted. So I knew at some point I always wanted to work for the military. I briefly considered joining as active duty. I'm kind of glad I didn't. I don't think from a personality standpoint that would have worked real well. If you know me, I don't like following directions or being told what to do. So I think it
Yeah, you
ended
work
up
for the military. Yeah, you work for the
it's
government.
But
it's
she
fine
works
as
as a
a civilian.
civilian.
They don't care what
She's
we do.
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
different when you're a civilian.
And then when I met my husband, and we moved to El Paso, so Fort Bliss was the first duty station that we went to together. They had an opening to work at their SRP deployment site. So that was how I started working with the military. That was back in 2013, 14. So we were still getting a lot of Guard Reserve units deploying out of there. So basically, we would just kind of sit, and some days there'd be no one. Some days we would have several plane full of soldiers coming home to try to get them healed up before they would head back to their home of record or wherever they were going. So that was kind of how I started with the military. A few years after that, I worked at Fort Campbell. I love that area. I'm actually from Kentucky, Tennessee, so it was nice for us to be closer to my family for a while. And then we've been out here at JBLM since 2017, 18. So.
Okay. Now here's a random question, if you don't mind
Okay.
me asking. Was your husband one of your patients?
No. So my husband.
I'm just
no.
saying, like,
Yeah, my
No.
patient fell in love with me.
how did you guys meet?
No. So both of our parents worked at HRC, so Human Resources Command at Fort Knox. At the time, he was at career course at Fort Benning. I lived in Cincinnati doing the city thing. Our parents kind of started talking and was like, "Oh, Jamie really likes
set him
to."
up.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, my daughter really likes to hike and kayak and loves a dog." And then his dad was like, "Oh, well, my son likes to, hike and kayak and has a dog." And then we ended up meeting, and we moved in 2 months after we met. We got engaged 6 months after we met, and then we moved across the country to El Paso, and the rest is history.
So your parents set you up, is what you're saying?
Kind of, yeah.
And the key ingredient, because I know that she's listening right now, probably, or she's gonna listen to this eventually, is the dog. I think the dog helps a lot.
Yes.
And
yes.
That's actually how Amanda and I met through Instagram.
Because you guys have the same type of dog, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, they have the same
she
dog.
found Allie through like hashtags or whatever. And it's like, that's a cute dog. And his dad's kind of hot. So like,
oh, so you guys were like a social media couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
she slid into your DMs.
So like,
no, that's a lot. Rob slides into everybody. Rob
Who
knows
slid
the
into
DM
whose
slider
DMs?
in.
I
Okay.
slid into hers, but
Like
it was
usual.
one of those things that one day I went on my Instagram, and sorry for people that have heard this story, but I'll humor you, Jamie. One day I went on my Instagram, and there's the cutest fucking puppy Vishla that followed me. And I looked at his page. He didn't have that many followers, and honestly, like certain people that like have photography backgrounds, that have Vishlas or are SOS affiliated. Those are people usually I fall back. I don't fall back every single request. It's just like you have to have interesting content. And I was like, this is the most adorable dog in the world besides Allie. And so I followed it. I followed the dog back, and then all of a sudden I started getting likes from an attractive girl from Texas. And I looked at the accounts and I'm like, oh shit, that's the dog's mom. So I immediately searched her entire page. I was like, does she have a boyfriend? Okay.
She's single? Let me know. I gotta know this.
Single. Right. Just in case she's not single, I slid into her DMs and started talking about dog stuff first. I was like, because like I was
your dog's cute.
I was like, hey, like you have a Vishla, I have a Vishla, like this is the type of jackets I use, you should try this and blah blah blah. And it just got really friendly, and then like I got
too friendly.
And then it got like very friendly, and the conversations were no longer professional, but we were both.
And now he's leaving Friday to go see her.
Yeah. And it was all because of the dogs.
Yeah. So that goes back to your thing. Like I think like that good thing that like helps couples get together is dogs. So and parents, I guess, for you, and social media for me. So, okay, cool. All right. I completely derailed your conversation.
No, you're good.
I don't even remember where you were at in your story. So, did you make it to Fort Lewis yet in your story? I think you were almost there, or you had gotten.
Yes, because we've been here now since like 17 or 18, somewhere
Okay, yeah, you
around
did say
there.
that.
Yep.
Okay, and out of all those duty stations that you guys have been to, was Campbell your favorite, or Lewis, or where do you like being stationed so far?
I
If
like
you could
them
pick
all.
any duty station, where would you go?
No, go with this first, and then Austin's question next.
Okay, because there are two different answers. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's tough. I've enjoyed something about everywhere. Fort Bliss, El Paso was definitely my least favorite. The area is not great there, but I enjoyed my job. I am probably one of the only people. I didn't mind Fort Benning. I kind of found Columbus to be a little bit homey. So I didn't mind there.
Right? Yeah. Man,
leaving this conversation.
But
she's with you, Austin. I'm out.
I think we
When
picked
were
a
you
bad
there,
guest. We're
though?
gonna have to leave.
I've heard it's gotten. I was there in like 13 or 14, I think, and I've heard it had gotten a lot better at that point already. So I don't know if you were there before then. But
I was there
I think
in 2010. I was there at the end of 2010, the beginning of 2011.
Was it still a shithole?
Yeah, it's always been a shithole. What are you talking
Well,
about?
It's always been a show. Yeah, I got there in 2001, like at the kickoff of like all the September 11th stuff. So it was.
So I mean,
I
think the town is a shithole, but and I think maybe it's just because it was the first place we lived together. We had like a little shithole apartment in shithole Columbus, but it seemed kind of homey. So I have like fond memories of there. But I think just location wise, I like Fort Lewis the best. Now I had lived in Hawaii before I met my husband. If I could just any duty station, I would go to Hawaii in a heartbeat.
Wait, yeah, I mean, of course.
Yeah,
but I don't even count that anymore.
25th divisions out there, the
Yeah.
tropical lightning. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I think that's most people's decision though, is Hawaii.
Exactly. It's just so expensive out there, but
yeah, $9 for a gallon of milk or some shit. Yeah, ridiculous.
It's not much better here though. Right now.
Well, yeah, right now it's terrible.
Yep.
What's your husband's MOS? If you didn't say that already.
He is currently an infantry officer. He was enlisted as a medic early in his career. But he's actually out of the kind of regular active duty stuff right now. He works full time for the Washington National Guard. So he's just finishing out his career. Will probably stay here until he retires in a few years.
Okay. So did he have was he on like a deployment tempo when he was a whiskey or a medic?
I don't know about that. That was a long time ago. He deployed he deployed out of Alaska in around I think 11 to 12, somewhere around there. That was before I met him. But he was at Fort Richardson when he deployed with them.
Yeah, the Alaska infantry unit and actually an entire brigade. I don't remember if it was that time frame or it was like 2007, 2008. An interesting thing about their history was they went on a deployment. They got cleared to leave, flew back to Alaska, landed the planes, and were told that they were stop loss and had to go back. And I think it was before 2011 because I had some of those guys that were with me in 2009, 2010 in Afghanistan. So it might not have been his group, but either way, like the only reason why I ask is because this is going to sound a little bit egotistical, but I'll revert back. Infantry is like one of the trying to think of the word. Like it's obviously a brotherhood. It's one of the best in my opinion, in my egotistical standpoint. But and like all other MOSs, except for the medical departments, to me are just support. Like I don't really. I mean, yeah, I made that post the other day about artillery, and maybe I'll get canceled for this, but like, yeah, some guy was like going on and on about how like we're the king of battle and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, but we're the ones that are downrange, getting shot out, calling
we're
for your help while you're
long range king of battle. How's that?
Yeah, exactly. No. But what I'm getting at is to go. Like, I have a lot of respect for the medical community just because of what our whiskeys go through, both on the battlefield and being back home in garrison, dealing with the men and women that come back that have injuries in combat. And and then to actually like go full circle and then go be an officer for infantry, that's just really cool. That's all I wanted to say on that.
I mean, that's two completely different worlds, though, between, being a 68 whiskey and then being an infantry officer. That's two different worlds.
I don't know that infantry officer was the plan. I think he had always intended to commission and then try to go to PA school and continue a career in the medical world. And at the time, the Army needed combat arms more than they
of course
wanted more medical, and then he just kind of kept, well, I'll do this.
You're like, I guess I'll stay here.
Well, I think it was one of those like, okay, I'll go do my PL time, then I'll try to go to the IPAP program, and then it was like, okay, I'm going to deploy for a couple years, then I'll do the IPAP program, and then it's like, okay, you're off to career course. Nope, sorry, now you're not going to go to the IPAP program ever.
Well, I mean, when you join, you have all these goals and dreams of things you want to do, and then a lot of them get derailed quickly.
Yep, the Army has other plans for you.
They have other plans for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, when I originally joined, I wanted to be an MP, but that didn't happen.
Oh, God.
Oh no. Yeah.
When I first joined, that was my
be business partners. Would you, if you were an MP?
That was my first choice. When I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be an MP. I'm gonna do all this, and then because I had some stuff on my record, they're like, no, you can't be an MP. I was like, okay, well, what can I? They're like, you can do infantry. And I was like, oh, okay.
Go hang out with other criminals.
I was like, I guess.
So if we're getting back on topic though about like you and some of the things that you're doing, let's talk a little bit about what you do with your personal time. Let's talk about your Instagram and the business that you run with your training and your mobility. Would you like to take us through that? And Austin, could you bring up her page, please?
No, I don't know how.
Sure. So I mean, like, my full-time work is for the military. I have a business that's kind of a hobby, kind of, one day I hope that'll be kind of my main thing. But my goal for my side business is to try to capture people before they get hurt. So, for 8 hours a day, I'm pretty much working with people once they're already broken, once they're already hurt.
Like Rob.
That's what, yes. So that's kind of what the medical model supports, at least for like musculoskeletal health. But if you think about like dental care, right? Like you go to the dentist a couple times a year,
right,
not having like preventatively, but that's like not a thing for like muscles, bones, joints, tendons, etc.
Yeah, once you're broken, then you go see somebody.
Exactly. You don't get like regular checkups at the physical therapist, twice a year.
No.
So what I'm doing with my business is I work with people for, I call it like wellness services. So that means insurance doesn't cover it. But people will consult with me for like, hey, my knee's like kind of achy when I squat. I'm not really injured, but I'd like to get to where I can squat without knee pain. Or, I want to train for a marathon and I want to make sure I'm doing it healthy. I don't want to get shin splints, etc. So we work on things they can do basically proactively.
Mm-hmm.
I just released last week it's a program that basically allows you to self-assess kind of the major joints in your body. And then based on your self-assessment, there's a library of classes that you can take. So let's say you do your assessment and you realize, oh, wow, I have a shitty shoulder and I never really knew I had a shitty shoulder, because maybe your shitty shoulder doesn't hurt yet. But now you have a shitty shoulder, and you can go on and take the shoulder classes to start working on kind of how your shoulder is performing. So I call it mobility. I think that's just a word that people are comfortable with, but a lot of people think mobility is like foam rolling and stretching. It's a lot more work than that. So I think really what we're doing with this program is creating more resilient joints. So joints that aren't going to break down if you go run a marathon, or aren't going to break down if you go on a hike, or start squatting or overhead pressing, etc. So I'm really trying to get people to think of their training and musculoskeletal health as like something you can do proactively.
And then let's talk about this little cutie right here.
That's Miss Ava. Naughty Ava.
And so when did you get her, and how long have you had her?
So Ava is about 1.5 years old. She came to me when she was between 4 and 5 months old, and then she started working full time at 6 months old. We've been kind of ongoing training throughout that. She's more or less trained to the level I need her to be now. She just reached full maturity, but she's my, I consider her an extension of me when I'm in the clinic. So she's not my service dog or anything, but she works as my partner. I actually got that idea from a chaplain that I worked with a long time ago, who had a dog she took on deployments, and she had kind of suggested that she thought it would be something that would benefit, the healthcare care world as well. And we kind of started chatting, and then years passed. I just didn't really have the opportunity to do that. And then when my last Belgian Malinois passed away 2 years ago, I knew I wanted to get another one, and I wanted to train this one kind of from the beginning to go to work with me. So she had a job before she was even born, so to speak. But basically, she is there. She does a few things. So she's there for soldiers that are receiving their health care. She's also there for the rest of our staff. And it's, you guys are both in the military, so I'm sure this will make sense. But there are a lot of people that, when they go to the doctor, they're not in the best state. Whether they're in physical pain,
mentally
or
or physically.
Exactly. There's a lot of, I think, in the military, a lot of apprehension about doctors and healthcare
I think that's
providers.
just guys. I think that's just guys in general.
But it gives people, I see this all the time. People come in my office and they just kind of go blank. They can't verbalize why they're there. They can't verbalize, what's hurting, what they're having trouble with. And the dog almost gives them a focal point of like something to initiate the conversation about, or something to even make eye contact with, to kind of open things up for the conversation. So it's the effect she has on people it really just blows my mind, because she's not doing anything special. A lot of times she's just sitting
She's just
there.
really cute.
She's just really cute and really naughty. And then she's trained to, so she'll run on a treadmill. So if someone is doing their rehab and they're, starting on a running program, she gets on the treadmill next to them. She will drag like a weighted sled. So if people are out training for an ACFT, she can go out and pull weight with them. So she makes her rounds during morning PT. She kind of makes her way around the brigade. She's always in the clinic, when I'm there. If sometimes it's just honestly staff comes and they're like, I'm having a really shitty day, I just need an Ava hug, and that's what she's there for. It's really cool.
Yeah, and I think, and I was gonna ask why you picked a Belgian Malinois, but you said you had one before. So, and then another thing I think is, like you said, anybody in the military that's done it, they're familiar with, they've seen Belgian Malinois, they know what they are, they're familiar with their work, and so, and I think that leads to what you were saying, is they're comfortable around her because they're familiar with the dog, they're familiar with that dog in their line of work.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people ask, like, that is kind of an odd dog to have as a, if we're going to call it something like a therapy dog. But it's the breed I liked. And I think for the military, it makes sense. You know,
Yeah.
the
Oh
military is
yeah.
kind of rough around the edges, a little bit crusty. We don't need like a happy little lap dog in there. You know, we need a dog that's like,
Chihuahuas. That's gonna be the new
right.
military dog. Is Chihuahuas.
They want to see her in there like kicking ass and like being
Mm.
a badass little fur missile. And I think it motivates them. It makes them feel like there's some cool shit going on kind of in their unit, and they're happy then to come and get their health care and do the rehab. So it made sense for our environment.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and we actually have had on probably like 4 to 6 different people that work in like the dog training communities, and
Yeah.
Belgian Malinois, German Shepherd, common discussion that we've had. And one of the things Austin and I were talking about before you actually came on was, and we've said this in previous episodes, is that it takes with those types of dogs, you have to have like rigorous training, or
Yeah,
like that
super
job,
high drive.
that dog has to have a job. And then Austin's like, yeah, and that's why she pulls things around. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly it. Like she keeps her busy doing
and
things.
you have to deplete those energy levels every day, or they
Yep.
won't sleep. You know, they're gonna be up all night and destroying everything. So you have to put them through, and it's an everyday thing. You know, you have to deplete those energy levels.
Oh yeah, we're up at 4 a.m. every day, so she does the treadmill here for 60 to 75 minutes just before we go in to start sit call. But what's interesting is it's no different for humans. You've got to have like physical activity in order to be in a good like mental headspace. And we see that in like a dog, but a lot of times we're not thinking about that sometimes for ourselves. If you're wound up and a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of times what you need is some exercise and kind of blow it off. So it's the deeper I've gotten into kind of the canine world and training, the more parallels I see between kind of basically training humans and training dogs, and just kind of how we view taking care of the body and the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because I think you and I know people on the podcast know, and I think even you and I have talked too, Jamie, that like the toughest part about this whole like ankle injury was the mental health aspect behind it, because going from a super active lifestyle to a very sedentary lifestyle, being forced into that and not being able to do things. And then like when I'm doing simple things like trying to crutch around my house, falling and dislocating my finger and like setting myself even further
It's not
back.
funny,
So
but
it's funny now. It was not funny when it happened.
When it happened, he was pissed.
Oh yeah, but it's just like, I think some people don't understand that the reason why they feel like shit is because they're not actually moving their bodies and they're not actually doing things. And I don't know if I said this on last podcast, but like I do like being open about things. One of the most depressing things that has happened in this past like couple months is Allie's put on weight, and she has always been in really good shape. I mean, literally the weekend before I broke my ankle, we just got done doing a 20-mile hike into the canyon and back out. Like, she's an amazing dog, but she got handicapped because of my stupid injuries. So like, I can see how it correlates with you and Ava and, your lifestyle, plus like what you're trying to be as an advocacy point for soldiers and, people out there that are having like a sedentary lifestyle.
Yeah. And one of the questions I had is, in your job dealing with soldiers on a daily basis, what's the most common issue you see with them from a physical therapy standpoint?
So I think a lot of it is just overuse injuries. I mean, you're always going to have like traumatic, I sprained my ankle, broke my leg, whatever. But probably 80% of what I see is due to either improper training. So they're usually being overtrained. It's not a choice they have for most soldiers. They're being overtrained without adequate recovery. So the op tempo is so high of really high intensity, morning PT, working 10 to 12 hours a day. They get off work, they have to blow off some steam. So they're up late at night, going on them 4 hours of sleep, kicking the morning off with, an energy drink, rolling right into it. And then
ending the night with lots of alcohol.
Exactly. And so it's a combination of they're being overtrained, and then they're not able to get adequate recovery, partially because of personal choices and partially because of just the op tempo with work and whatnot.
So on the energy drink topic,
what are your thoughts on them?
First off, have you ever heard of Echelon?
Echelon.
I haven't tried one, but I've heard of them.
I tried them this weekend. They're pretty amazing because, from what I understand, they use natural thermogenics, like actual peppers and stuff like that, instead of like the fat burning ones that give you like heart palpitations and shit.
That Rob had.
I've back in the day, I've had an energy, like a thermogenics thing go wrong, where I'd never tried them. I tried them as a pill from like a GNC sampler, and I had my first induced panic attack and ended up in the hospital thinking like I was going to die. And I had no idea why my heart was like beating out my chest. But the question is this: Is there a healthy energy drink out there? Is there a healthy pre-workout or non-stim workout out there, or powder? Like, what do you think on all that stuff?
So I honestly don't know. I don't drink any of that, nor have I in a very long time. I have my hearty dose of coffee every morning. But other than, probably 3/4 of a pot of coffee, all I drink is water. I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink energy drinks. So I don't know. I know there are likely some that are better than others, but I don't honestly have. I don't know brands or which ones would be better than others.
Okay, I was just interested from just like I guess it correlates with your hope of like prevention stuff, and I think the body is everything. You have to be mentally well. You have to get adequate sleep. You need to move your body, and you need to move your body properly as you're aging or you're doing physically demanding tasks that can lead to injuries. So I don't know why I exactly brought it up, but
I think a piece of that though is
me and Rob both like energy drinks. That's why.
But what you're putting in your body though is also going to affect your kind of state of being, and whether that's liquid putting in your body or like food type stuff. So I mean, I think it's definitely worth considering. Now, I will say I am fortunate. I have the amazing Susan Lopez, aka Tactical Dietitian, working in the office next door to me. So
you guys are that close, like you guys are. So like we follow each other and we all work together on like that last program. But like I thought this was like a cross country. This is literally
I thought this was like somebody in like California that you just knew from like Instagram or something.
No, so I take all my questions like this straight to her. I figure if I've got that type of knowledge in the office next door, I might as well use it.
Yeah, hell yeah, use it. Yeah. So does she do the same thing as you? Does she just the nutrition side for soldiers?
Exactly. Yeah. So have you guys heard, like, do you know what like the H2F programs are? Like it's
I've seen them with the Air Force, like the nutrition planners.
No,
or is it something different?
Yeah.
No idea.
Okay, so H2F is holistic health and fitness. It is the Army's kind of like wave of the future. Are you familiar with the Thor 3 programs that Special Forces uses?
No.
So it's basically like a little pod of medical and performance specialists. So the Army's rolling them out over the next decade. Our brigade was one of the first waves, but for our brigade, we basically have 3 physical therapists, 7 athletic trainers, 2 sports dietitians, a cognitive performance specialist, which is actually a really freaking cool job if you haven't heard of them. And then we have 12 strength and conditioning coaches. So we basically have this whole team whose job is to try to get the brigade healthier, increasing deployability, because over the entire Army, the main reason that a soldier is not deployable is typically a musculoskeletal injury. So the goal of these H2F programs is to replace the old model of healthcare where you go to sick call, get referred to your clinic or the
2 months later.
hospital. Exactly. So the way it works
Drink
now
water
is
and Motrin.
Change your socks.
If you get hurt now, so let's say during morning PT you sprain your ankle, you talk to your medic that day. Yeah, no. So what happens now is your medic sends them directly to me. They will see me within like an hour of getting hurt. They get on a program. If they need to see if they're already overweight, I get them straight in to see the dietitian. If they, are going to be profiled for a couple weeks because they can't run, they start working with a strength and conditioning coach on an alternate program. So it's basically the same day access to care that's in the footprint, in the battalions a lot of times. So I think over the next decade, it should really change kind of how the Army medical system's working. It's still really in its infancy right now, but it'll look night and day different than what you guys had.
Yeah, and I mean that's huge for, like you said, deployability and being able to see somebody, like you said, an hour after it happens, or right after it happens, and not waiting a week or 2 or whatever to see somebody, or just being told to walk it off or just deal with it. Here's some ibuprofen, you'll be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think actually having the right tools and the right people it'll be huge.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Rob?
No, I find that interesting just because the mentality of like our battalion recon and sniper section was you're gonna learn how to function off of like zero sleep, pain. We're gonna give you these things. We used to take these things like called go fast pills when we were in theater. They wouldn't tell us what was in it, but I'm pretty sure it's like speed.
Some kind of amphetamine, yeah.
It crack.
It's like they eventually like phased them out of our unit, but it was all about like, hey, these guys are like, I felt like we were just numbers out there sitting in our sniper or recon hide. And it was our job to, be awake 90% of the time in those 3 days. And, luckily in certain areas of the Army, you have guys that are like, better at their PT and, have just better physical cardio. So I think that like helps at the level of, getting lack of sleep and being out there in a rigorous environment where, injuries are probably going to happen. But if you're like nipping that in the butt and doing it from the entire military at the brigade level, that's freaking huge because it could directly impact like the wellness of our soldiers for like deployability. And because there was a bunch of people that didn't go, and one of my friends, and I don't think I've ever said this on the podcast, one of my friends who got shot 4 times in Iraq was supposed to deploy with us, and we were walking home one night and he tripped. I can't remember if he broke his arm or his leg or whatever it was, but anyways, he was a medical holdover, and because we got stop loss in theater, he ended up deploying out later, wasn't with our unit, got assigned to like some just like bullshit cav unit, and he almost died in theater. Got shot 4 times, 2 times in the sappy, 1 time in the helmet, 1 time in the forearm. Had to lay there and pretend like he was dead so they could stop shooting him. And it just makes me wonder if things were different in the early stages. If we were looking at it from like the aspect, like I'm gonna go on a little rant here. If we're looking at it from the aspect of like wellness, like the whole thing, like from mental health, sleep deprivation, health, like nutrition, mobility, all these things that I felt like were just kind of like not that important. We probably would have had like less casualties, less injuries, stuff like that. I don't know. Like it kind of just struck a chord.
No, and I think there's like when you join the military, there's two types of people in the military. There's the people that like when they go in, they're super into fitness, they're super healthy, like they work out all the time, and they're in shape. And then there's people like me who joined and don't care as much about their physical fitness or do as much as the guys that are working out 10 hours a day on their free time or whatever and but with the program that you're doing, Jamie, I think that's going to help a lot of people. But there's also, like you said, a lot of people are just scared of going to the doctor, or they're scared of trying to make it better because they're supposed to be these big, tough guys that are supposed to be able to take care of it themselves. They were taught, especially, you're taught to be able to take care of it yourself, to just deal with it. And there's a whole new program coming out. Be like, no, here's what you need to do. Here's what you're supposed to do, and they don't want to do it.
What's kind of cool about our positions is we're medical people, but we're not really working in like a clinic, so to speak, or a hospital. There's some days I just spend the day out at the range with a sniper section, or go to the range with some of the artillery kids, or if they're doing a squad competition, I go out, and it's an opportunity to catch some of those people, like you're saying, that maybe don't want to seek out quote unquote medical care, but when we're there and there's some downtime, I find that those are the people that walk up and they're like, hey, while you're here, I've noticed my shoulders starting to whatever, like, do you have any ideas for that? And then it can kind of broach a conversation, and maybe the answer is still, well, why don't you come in and see me in the clinic tomorrow? But at least they've had that FaceTime now with medical people outside of like the hospital and stuff, and we're kind of on their turf. They seem to be more receptive to it.
Yeah, and I definitely think that makes a huge difference if you're out there on the field and you see them on their their playing field, so to speak, compared to like, oh, I have to go see the doc, I have to go to this place, compared to like, oh, well, she's right there, let me just go ask her a question. Or if you see him like hobbling along or doing something that that they should have been seeing you a long time ago, you'd be like, hey, what's going on with your shoulder, or what's going on with your leg? Why haven't you come to see me? What can I do to help?
And a lot of times our strength coaches are catching that, because they're out with them every morning doing PT, and they're like, hey, what's going on? You don't look like you're doing so hot. Oh, my back's been bothering me. Well, why don't you go talk to Jamie? She'll get you hooked up. So there's a lot of different ways now that I think soldiers can get the care they need. There's not a good excuse anymore at this point if they don't. I think the Army's definitely moving in the right direction. Is that Allie?
Yeah, it is.
She's rolling around on the floor. I had a question while I go let her out that I'll end up listening to later. But it's mainly for our listeners. And Austin, if you wouldn't mind like walking through this, could you explain a little bit more about the program, the actual like
your online
stuff? Yeah, like let's go
program.
beyond her Instagram page, like show people her webpage, where they can go, how they can sign up, all that good stuff. You guys just BS about that. I'll be back in like a minute or two.
Okay, hurry up. So first things first, what made you decide to do it, I guess, like a virtual online, mobility program?
So I liked the idea of virtual, just because where I
Especially in
am.
this day and age.
Exactly. And kind of as a military spouse, I never really know, if we're going to move or where we're going to be. So I liked the
Right, yeah.
idea that people could kind of access whatever I was putting out from wherever. So basically, I have two programs right now. I've got one that's more geared towards running. And then the one I just released, that's we'll call it mobility, but basically it's how you can start proactively taking care of your body. So you can either join like just from a monthly membership, or you can buy an annual pass. But when you sign up, there's you start with just like some tutorials. So like how do you train mobility? What dictates mobility? Injury prevention type stuff. And it's all geared towards, a non-medical person. So there's no big words or whatever. It's all
No jargon in there that you won't understand.
there's no jargon. So, and again, that's one thing the military has helped me. I am great at explaining things at the most basic level.
You have to explain it like you're talking to a fifth grader.
Yes. So once you sign in, then you go through kind of this basic tutorial stuff if you're interested, and then there's options to kind of work through these like self-assessments. And I'm actually a big proponent of self-assessment, because you don't know if your shit's messed up unless you're kind of constantly checking on it. And I think like right now, the only assessment we have that most people are using is like I hurt or I'm injured.
Right.
And so
they only go to the doctor if something either hurts or feels bad. Like, oh,
exactly.
my shoulder hurts. Shoulder's hurting me today. I'm gonna go see him.
But most likely something had been brewing in the shoulder for weeks or months, and you'll pick that up with this like loss of range of motion, loss of strength, etc. So basically then there's self-assessments. And then I have all the classes are like kind of follow along training sessions. And they're anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. And basically you can just pick like, I want to work on shoulder today. You can hit play on a shoulder class, and then you can sync it to your iPad or your Apple TV. Very similar to like if you were going to do like a yoga class or something like that. Only this isn't yoga, this is hard work. But it gives people a way to start kind of training to prevent injury.
Right.
And then we're doing coaching calls every month. So we've got our first coaching call coming up this week, where we're going to talk about just how to prioritize your training. So people always ask like, oh my God, are you doing like mobility stuff for like hours a day? Fuck no, I'm not doing that. And
it looks like it on your account though.
No.
You're tricking people.
You're like, no, I have a life outside of this.
And that's the thing though. Over time, I integrate some of that into my regular workouts, but I'm still running, deadlifting, squatting, bench pressing, doing all the same normal shit that everyone else does for workouts. But basically, we're going to talk about just how to prioritize. And that's kind of based on like your self-assessments. So, maybe you're in this kind of homeostasis where everything's good. You don't do a lot of it. And then you start to notice, okay, my shoulder's not performing great. And so now you start picking up a little extra shoulder training until that levels off. And so it'll kind of ebb and flow with time. But my goal is I want people to have the knowledge and the tools that they can start troubleshooting some of this stuff without waiting until it becomes a full-blown, I can't move my arm, I need to go to the doctor, get a steroid shot, get an MRI, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. So question on that, because I asked you probably about a month and a half ago this. Do you think at the point that I'm at where I'm back in a soft shoe wearing like an ankle brace and stuff, do you think I could partake in any of that stuff by now?
Yes, you just would have to modify some of the ankle classes. Some of the ankle classes require a deep squat. But you could do everything else. Yes. It's not, I consider it like a supplement. So if you think of like your regular workout is like the meat and potatoes of what you do for fitness. But then you think like there might be some little things that you're not getting from your main fitness, like your kind of these extra movements. Exactly. So this is kind of like exactly. So it's like your supplement. It is your movement supplement that you take.
Yeah, because people don't do enough stretching or mobility work before a workout or after a workout. They just go full ham into it, and that's how they tear stuff or break stuff.
Well, in most fitness is like pattern-based training. So like if you do a squat, your knees are moving, your ankles are moving, your hips are moving, your spine is moving. And if something's not going well, you don't really know which one of those is messed up. So all of my training is more like individual joints. So your fitness stuff will be your kind of global movement. And then we break it down and then give like each joint a little extra attention. Because a lot of times the more like joints you're moving, things can get covered up. You start breaking it down to like its individual pieces, and that's where you can start to find things that like find your deficits and whatnot.
Okay, cool. And then could you explain the collaboration you did with Modern Strength, Tactical Dietitian,
the Project
and
Resilience, was it?
Project, yeah. Could you explain that? And do you guys have anything else coming up in the future that our listeners might be interested in?
We do. So we had, I call it the dream team. So Modern Athlete Strength it's two strength coaches that are both affiliated with the military. One is a civilian coach, and then one is actually active duty. So they wrote a 4-week like fitness training block. And then my piece of it was some of this supplemental mobility. And then Tactical Dietitian contributed like educational videos about just like some basic nutritional guidance. And all our proceeds from this went to Project Resilience, which provides psychotherapy for combat wounded veterans. But it's kind of like, it's really cool because she's doing it sort of in this like powerlifting gym. So she combines powerlifting with trauma counseling. So basically, we sold this 4-week program of fitness programming, mobility, and then nutritional education. 100% of our proceeds went to Project Resilience. So we're actually just finishing. They all started 6 June. So that first 4-week group is just finishing up their training block right now. We are looking at doing it again, probably at the end of the summer. I think we're going to alternate to support different organizations. I'm not sure. We haven't decided yet who we are supporting for the next one. And then thank you guys for donating a couple spots.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And we'll definitely talk more offline about it because one, we would like to support the next one. Two, I'm interested in actually doing it because that's how it all started. I was interested in doing it.
Right.
You were saying I wasn't ready. And then I started talking about, well, maybe I'll give up a spot. And I was like, nah, maybe I'll give up 2 spots. And then I brought it up to Austin, and Austin's business usually does whatever my business does. So we ended up giving away 4 spots. And like, I liked doing that. And then the only other thing I want to add to that is we should definitely talk offline about a couple other things too. Maybe you could talk to the tactical dietitian and see if she's interested in coming on. I think she would be a really good guest in the future.
Sure.
And also probably like Modern Strength and fitness would be really cool. And then even the psychotherapy one for powerlifting, I can never remember her Instagram handle.
I can send it to you. Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, I have them all. Like I can go find it. I just don't know how to say it out loud on the spot.
Oh, gotcha.
Right now.
Gotcha.
Like we're friends. I've actually had conversations with her. But yeah, because I think it's good to have, different types of people on the show, because one of the things that we've learned after, doing 63 episodes is that the variety that we bring
Well, there.
actually
That was weird.
What happened? Oh, the AirPods died.
Yeah, can you
It sounds
hear
really
me?
weird now. I hear nothing but echo.
Everything we
Yeah, all I hear is reverberation. Hold on. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, because if I mute her, it's fine.
Okay, so here's what we'll do.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, it's all messed up.
we can mute her for a second. I got an idea.
Okay, yeah.
I got an idea.
No, it's still
It's
okay.
still
There.
happening.
There you
Yeah.
go.
All right. Stay muted for a sec, Jamie. Okay.
Okay.
You could, if you have your phone, you can disconnect, take your phone, reconnect, like using the link. You're just gonna go to Safari if you're on a Apple device. If you're on an Android, use I think Chrome works for it, or I'm not sure. AirPods died. Yeah. Allie's barking like crazy.
Yeah, where's she barking at? I hear her fucking going crazy over there.
I know. Well, Jamie, do you want to try to come back in with your phone and then we'll wrap up? She's trying right now. Yeah, if anything, she could try to come in with her phone.
Yeah.
Or is that not going to work? Yes, no?
And it should be the same link that we just sent you. Yeah, because I was freaking out. Go get Allie, Rob, and we'll figure this out. Go grab Allie. Hurry up. We're having some technical difficulties. Please bear with us. I don't know why it was super reverb. Like all I hear is reverb. You get into work. Okay, not talk. Okay.
Holy shit.
There you go. Yeah, that's
I don't
what
think
we
it's
heard.
ever happened.
We heard
like
super reverb for some reason.
Does this sound any better?
Oh,
that.
yeah,
It
it sounds way better.
A million
Okay, sorry.
100 times.
I don't know what happened. Sorry about that.
Oh
It's
no,
all
you're
good.
fine. I have no idea what happened either. I was just like, I can't hear nothing. All I hear is echo. Sounds like you're in an echo chamber.
Every time we talked, it would just like reverberate through the whole entire studio. Like it was crazy. We might be able to cut that part out.
Yeah, I can cut it out. That's fine. We'll figure it out.
Okay. We'll cut it out. There'll be a pause, and then eventually Jamie will look at us again.
Sorry, now I gotta make sure my phone doesn't die.
Okay.
We're
gonna like finish up pretty quick here.
Okay.
Okay. So let's maybe get into ATI, and then we'll make sure that.
So before that, is there anything else that you want to talk about or cover, Jamie?
No, I'm good with whatever you guys want to go into.
Okay. Anything else you want to cover, Rob?
No, I just think that I look forward to working with you guys in the future, and then I think we can also do some collaboration work in September, because you weren't friends with us in September, and we had the March for Miles was probably about like 3 or 4 times the size.
Yeah, because I don't know if you didn't do the 22 challenge last year, did you?
No, she didn't know us then.
Okay,
but that was even bigger, and we're planning for that to be even bigger this year. And I think it would be cool to join forces with you again and try to, at minimum, get you and or Ava on some of our stories doing stuff, because like it motivates other people to get out there and work a little bit, because working helps mental health. That was the only other thing I wanted to cover. And then I figured we'll get into ATI before your phone dies.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So, for those of you who are first-time listeners, ATI is Answer the Internet. These are curated questions that we find across the internet. They're would you rathers. Her phone is dying. She's running to an outlet,
I'm plugging it in.
plugging it in.
She has a plug-in in the gym.
As a good gym will have. All right.
Oh,
Now
and
she's
it froze.
frozen.
Oh, there you go.
And we're
Okay.
back. All right, there we go. All right, I'm just going to get into these questions. They're would you rather questions. We decided not to do super messed up ones for Jamie. All right, she's joining us again. There we go.
Thank you.
Would you rather star in a Star Wars or Marvel film?
Which one?
Okay, so my husband and I were just talking about this with some friends last night. He says that he potentially may divorce me at some point because I don't care for either one of those types of movies. So,
Austin, end this episode. End this episode. This
You're
episode
done.
never existed.
First
I'm
you
with
said
your
you liked.
husband on this.
First you
said
said
that-
you liked Fort Benny, and now you say you don't like either of those. We're gonna have to just leave. This episode never happened. Sorry.
okay, so I'm going to, without really watching either one of them, I'm going to say a Marvel movie because I feel like they seem to have a little more action.
She's
The
gonna be.
Star
She's
Wars
gonna be the
movie-
next Black Widow. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so final answer, Marvel, based on limited information about either one of them.
Okay.
Okay. What about you, Austin?
I'm going with Star Wars.
Okay.
Just because I'm a bigger Star Wars fan than I am a Marvel fan. So.
Well, yeah, because you like DC. DC is terrible. Marvel all the way. Star Wars is
Rob's
okay.
gonna be the next Spider-Man.
I wish. No, but it's funny because when we were in our green room before we started, we talked about ATI, and we said we had questions for you that would not lead to divorce. Yet the very first question we asked
And yet we still
The first
ended
one
it.
is divorce worthy, apparently. So I find that very comical. All right, Austin, you got the next question.
Would you rather have Celine Dion or Eminem perform the soundtrack to your life?
Eminem, hands down.
Good
That's
answer.
what I'm
Same.
going with. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I figured as much because you actually put a lot of like gangster rap on some of your like videos and stuff. So, I
Celine
figured
Dion's
you'd
just
answer.
kind of whiny.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, exactly. We should have like changed that. Like,
You're the one that
like
picked it.
DM. I just grabbed it off that website. All right. Would you rather lose all of your teeth or all of your hair?
All of my hair because I could wear a wig, but I don't want to have to do dentures.
Right. Yeah, that's what I said. I said, like, I don't all my hair in a heartbeat. Like, that's way easier than losing all
Yeah.
your teeth. Like, way
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah. Originally, I told Austin that I want to keep my hair because I like my mullet.
Hair
You
grows
get a-
back.
you
Your
get a
teeth
mullet
don't.
wig.
I know. You just taught me something.
he had no
Man.
idea what a wig was, you know?
I didn't even know that's possible for guys. Like, I just.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. This is. Huh.
Rob's gonna
Maybe
get an
there's a way to
afro.
maybe there's a way to meet in the middle with Amanda. She wants my mullet gone so bad. And I keep refusing to cut it off. So.
He's
So
gonna
you
lose
cut
all
your
of his
hair,
hair
have
and
it
have a mullet.
You can have like a mullet extension too. Like
Have
extension,
extensions.
like a clip-on mullet.
Clip on mullet.
This is a life-changing podcast.
Are you like
Okay.
Googling clip-on mullets right now?
I might.
He'll get a weave. He's gonna get a weave, and they're gonna put a mullet in.
They have
Uh-oh.
clip-on mullets. See if they have
Yeah,
them.
for Halloween.
Ah.
So next question is: would you rather wear 1 or 7 colors every day? That makes no sense, Rob.
Yeah, it's either do you want to wear one or like you're just wearing one color completely, or you're not at all,
Or 7?
or 7. Hang on.
Can they be the same shade of the color? Can they just be different shades
No,
of one
no,
color?
no.
Oh.
It's got to be like 7 distinct different colors.
No.
Share screen.
One color for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to look like a rainbow over here.
Give me the permission.
No,
Is
you don't
this
get no
good?
fucking
We
permission.
can do this.
That's Rob's. That's what Rob's getting. That's what he's gonna wear around town. That's what he's gonna wear when he sees Amanda next.
I think that's a really good idea. I should order that. I'm in my
Mhm.
account right now.
It'll be here
Add to
Friday.
cart. Ah, fuck! I leave on Friday.
Yeah, it won't show up in time.
Damn it, Jamie! You should have met with us earlier.
Is there
I
not
blame you.
an option for a next day shipping one? There's got to be
No,
one
they-
somewhere.
I live in the Grand Canyon.
Because he
like,
lives in the Grand Canyon. Probably not.
I'm gonna continue to search when I get out of here. Okay, we're done. Such a
Okay.
good idea.
So which one you picking, Rob? 1 or 7 colors?
I'm going with 7 colors because
Yeah, I'm going
like
with 1.
colors. Right. Yeah. What about you, Jamie?
One color. My ADD
Yep.
could not handle 7 colors.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Disappointed in both of you.
I don't want to wear a rainbow.
That's not nice to say, Austin.
That's okay.
Would you rather give up the internet or showering for a month?
Internet, hands down. I actually would love to give up the internet for a month.
Okay. Austin?
I mean, I'm gonna give up the internet just because if I give up showering, I don't think my wife would be too happy.
I could wait until I've gone 5.5 weeks without a shower.
Well, I mean, if you don't have a
But
choice, then yeah. But you were
you
also.
do have a choice.
But no,
You need
you
the
were probably.
interwebs.
I mean, I don't really.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna go in the woods for a month and give up the internet.
And then you're gonna go home and shower every night?
No, I'll just find a way to take a shower in the woods.
Then why don't you
I'll
just
figure
bring
out how-
technology with you?
Because I have to give up the internet.
All right. I don't know. I'm doing no shower for a month. Sorry, Amanda.
You better
don't
be
come
working
hang
from
out.
home then.
All right. Remember how we said we're gonna give you one
So we
fucked
have
up question?
one super fucked up one. Do you want us to ask you it or not, Jamie?
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Would you rather watch your dog die or one of your parents?
Oh my gosh. It's so messed up. I saw him type it up. I was like, that's terrible.
Okay, so I'm going to say probably a parent, and here's why. Because I feel like I'm directly responsible for the well-being of my dog. I am not responsible for an adult's well-being.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I would feel like I would be at fault if I did nothing for the dog. But I feel like for my parents, they could take care of themselves.
What if they're at that point where they can't take care of themselves?
She's gonna let him die.
And I'm gonna hope they don't listen to this podcast.
I always tell my parents don't listen to ATI. That's
Don't
the
listen to
only
the
thing.
end. What about you, Rob? You watching
Well-
Allie die or your mom?
Oh, that's so fucked. Here's the worst part. Amanda talks to my mom all the time, so she'll probably
know.
fucking repeat it. I'm torn too because like I don't want either to die. No matter what I say, it's fucked.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah,
these words.
yeah,
You know
I
this.
get it, but this is a disturbing question, I guess. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I think the dog. And I know that
You know what?
sounds so fucked.
You just don't watch Allie die.
No, but like I don't know. Like now she's standing here. She heard me say it. Shit.
She's like, "Fuck you, Dad."
She literally, as I
You
said,
gonna watch
it,
me
was,
die?
Like, walked in. Because I've watched, my parents like lose dogs, and it was tragic. But you still had your parents. But your parents die one day.
So does your dog.
Parents.
Yeah. Which one?
Final answer. Parents.
Which
I
one?
changed. Oh. This is gonna sound fucked up again. Probably my mom, because
Oh.
my dad could handle it better than my mom would. Does that make sense?
Yes.
What about you, Austin?
I'm probably gonna go parents. I only have one left, so fuck them.
Oh my. Okay, so we're good with all of our parents dying, basically.
At least I can get another dog. I can't get another dad.
But you said you want your dad to die.
Well, yeah.
But you can't get another
no.
dad.
Okay, vice versa. Whatever.
So you're saving the dad. You're saving the dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with my
would
dad.
you rather watch die?
Oh, my dog, because I can get another dog.
Okay. Yeah, this is a complicated question. We should end this podcast.
I'd rather watch Rob die than either of those. Does that count?
Rowley, I said that you could live, okay?
She's mad at you now.
She's very mad at me. She's
like,
walked
fuck
in.
you.
At
You
the
said I
wrong
could
time.
die? Fuck you.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, that was everything we had for you. Sorry it was a little bit fucked up at the end, but we definitely appreciated you coming on today, and we look forward to getting this out to our listeners. And the only other thing is, do you have anything else you want to plug before we close out?
No, this was awesome. Thanks.
Okay, and then just stick around for done so we can get a picture. All right, cool. Austin, you got anything?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, well, everyone, this was the Fight Like Hell podcast, episode 63. Thank you for joining us. Do us a favor, if you're listening to us on whatever streaming platform you do, go ahead and give us a rating. Subscribe, unsubscribe, and then resubscribe, whatever you got to do to help pump us up in the algorithm. We appreciate all the love and support through the companies, and it was awesome to have you on. Everyone, have a good one. Peace.